So, okay, now on the podcast, we're going to kind of switch gears here, Brandon. We're not going to be talking about the football anymore. We'll get to football later. I know Brandon's a little footballed out with all the bowl games, but we did it for the onside kick. Now we're doing it for the Primetime Podcast. We have a special call-in guest, his second time, not on this program, but on multiple programs. He was on the onside kick for our call-in. We have Trevor Kinney. And when Trevor was like, yeah, I want to be on the Primetime Podcast, Brandon, he wanted to talk a little bit of Louisville basketball. And before I completely forget, Trevor, say hello to everyone out there listening to us.
Hey, guys.
And we're going to be talking Louisville basketball. And the thing I just got to bring up is, because, Trevor, I got to hit you where it hurts a little bit. What was with the 2-point loss to Kentucky, man?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I didn't go into that game watching it expecting the best, because they just haven't been able to win against Kentucky.
They've just been a powerhouse. Kentucky has.
Yeah, like the last, I think the only time that they've won in the last 5 years was that time that they won the tournament in 2012.
And see here,
12-13 season, I think.
You know, I was a little disappointed, you know, coming into this segment. I thought we were talking all about the incredible strippers that they got at Louisville. So I'm a little bummed out that we're not talking about them. But, you know, I think you go to that game against Kentucky, and what people were all talking about after that one was that last shot by Damian Lee. And they were going, well, one, horrible drawn up play. Ricky or I could have drawn that play up. It was not good. They didn't need to go for the win. They could have gone for the tie. I mean, what was your reaction? What were your thoughts? Did your TV break? I mean, were you as upset and looking like beside yourself as I was? Because I couldn't believe it.
Well, I was pretty excited just to be down by 2 on the last possession with the ball after they were down 16. I was getting pretty mad at that. And I was like, this is going to be like last year. They'll keep trying to get back in, but Kentucky will just keep that 10-point lead the whole game. But, yeah, I was pretty mad after that last possession because Damian Lee took step back 3 off balance, probably 1 foot.
And, I mean, spoken like a true Cub fan, right? With me in the play, like, when you were like, oh, I'm just happy to be down 2. Brandon, doesn't that exactly sound like me when we're in the NLDS? Oh, I'm just happy to be playing the Cardinals. We won the wild card game.
Yeah, Ricky, I'm just happy to be here. Just happy to be here.
But I mean, and the thing that this is, to me, because I'm not a Louisville fan, I'll be honest. I'm an Illinois fan. Is
you?
The thing, yes, me, the kid from Illinois. But I mean, the thing that I kind of just see from it, I'm looking at the box score, and this kind of jumps out like a sore thumb, is when you've got Lee, who we mentioned, the final shot, 8 for 20 in the game. Then you have Snyder, 0 of 5 in the game. You have Oaku, 4 of 7, 10 rebounds in the game. It seems like I'm looking down the sheet, nobody could make a basket for Louisville. And for me, maybe it's because I'm not a Louisville fan, but why was Lee taking so many shots?
Well, he at Drexel, he was playing like lower school. He was playing great there. So I don't know.
He could kind of be the man on that team.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that a really veteran coach like Bettina would allow a guy like that, even as a senior, to kind of just throw up shots.
That's the one thing, and I know Drexel isn't Drexel's not in this conversation, but I'm going to throw it out anyways. It was like when I'm watching, it was the Utah-Duke game. And
oh, that was a great game.
Oh, it was a great, I loved watching that game. I can't remember the kid's name, but Utah has this player who transferred from a D2 school, and Dickie V was talking about it the whole time, where you could see in his game the kind of where he has those D2 mistakes. Like one of them was contesting a 3 by Duke, and Duke made the 3. And guess what you get to do there, Brandon? You get to go for the 4-point play. And there's just some of these things, and Trevor, you say oh, well, at Drexel he was able to do different things. I think right away of my Illini were the last, I want to say it was the last 2 years when we had Rayvonte Rice, where Rice, when he was at the school that he was at prior, was kind of like the man. And he was the man with the Illini too, but when you make that jump to the power conferences in college basketball D1, you got to play as a team. You got to play smart. And I'm looking ahead in the schedule, and you guys have North Carolina State coming up next. As the resident Louisville fan, Trevor, what are you feeling going into the NC State game?
Well, now I'm feeling pretty good. Before the season started, I was thinking of them as being a pretty scary team in the tournament, going pretty far last year, and then pretty much returning all their guys.
Except for Rozier, right? Was that the only one you guys lost?
No, I'm talking about NC State.
Okay.
Most of their guys. Yeah, I think the stat was I think Louisville lost about 85% of their scoring from last year.
And, of course, most of them coming from point guard Terry Rozier, who he got drafted by the Celtics, I think, in the NBA draft.
Him, Montrezl Harrell, and Wayne Blackshear were the main ones. They were the only guys that scored last year.
Now, Trevor, does it worry you at all that your 2 losses come to Michigan State and to Kentucky, and then you've got now coming up in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of games, rather, you got Pitt coming up. They're ranked at 24. And then going later down the season, you got Virginia, North Carolina, stuff like that. That if you can't beat some of those teams, some of those ranked teams, that you guys will slowly, even if you're beating the unranked teams, find yourself slowly going down the top 25 list. Does that worry you at all?
A bit, but the thing is, it seems like they will beat the higher-ranked teams in ACC play, but then they'll lose to the lower teams. Last year, I think they lost to Miami and Florida State and a couple other of the lower-tier teams, but then they beat Virginia. I think they might beat Duke once and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's always one thing that I kind of give my one of my buddies a hard time about. He's a Purdue fan, and Purdue they're in right there in the pack as well in the top 25. But I always give him a hard time. Well, who have you beat? I mean, to make a case for being there, who have you beat? I can tell you who you lose to, but not necessarily who you beat. But
let's not bring up Big Ten basketball. I could go all day on Big Ten basketball, Brandon.
I'm sure you could. My other question for you is, just how good after you saw him, it goes back to that Kentucky game. Just how good is Tyler Ulis? I mean, he is one of the best and fun to watch.
Oh yeah, he seems a lot like it's just a one-game sample, but Aaron Harrison when they played in the tournament 2 years ago, and Aaron Harrison just lit them up that game like Ulis did last week.
Now of course, the thing that I look at when I'm looking right here at the Louisville page is I love March. Let's just be honest.
Gotta love March.
For college basketball, there are 2 times I love most. The entire month of March and Midnight Madness at the beginning of the season. Brandon, I've told you many times that I'll take off work for Midnight Madness so I can watch college basketball all throughout the night, stay up all night, sleep all day before I watch big games in the evening. And I'm looking at Joe Lunardi, Trevor. He's got Louisville right now. I mentioned it before we hit the record button. He's got Louisville as a 4 seed. And I know Brandon talked about, well, you've got the big games you've got to play Duke twice, Virginia twice, you got North Carolina in there. To me, your biggest stretch of games that's the toughest is there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game stretch where you go on the road to Duke, on the road to Notre Dame, home against Syracuse and then Duke again, and then you go on the road against Pitt and Miami. When you're looking there as a Louisville Cardinals fan and you see Joe Lunardi has you guys as a 4 seed in the Midwest to start conference play, are you sitting there going, oh, okay, I hope we don't fall? Or are you going, you know what? We can make a jump. We can go to 3. We can go to 2. Where else can we go from here? Is it more of a let's not fall, or what can we take as a Louisville fan?
Well, the only time that I can really remember, like the close past, like last 5, 6 years, other than that national championship season, they've been a 4 or 5 seed every year, and I don't know why, but I just can't see them as anything other than that. Like, I don't see them moving up to a 3 or a 2.
Is there a chance you guys fall?
I agree with you. I don't.
To a 5.
Trevor, I'll be honest. I don't see them being anywhere outside of 4 or 5. They never have been. They've really never been that top 1 through 3.
6 or 7 next to their name.
No. You don't put that type of number next to that type of team. You just don't do it.
But how crazy would it be? I'm not saying this is going to happen. Well, it may happen in the reverse because I don't know if the Ricky Widmer kiss of death has the reverse effect. If I say something bad, dare. I won't. But you notice how they do that now. Whenever I bring it up, our fans just go, "Don't you dare!" But what I was going to say is,
talk about their team.
Wouldn't it be weird if this was the first year where it was Louisville an 8 or 9 seed? That's why I'm talking about the reverse. Maybe if I say something bad, really good things will happen.
Yeah, probably not.
For Trevor and Louisville. The one thing I will bring up, though, because I did mention the kiss of death, what did I mention in the Cardinal Seahawk preview this week? That I was kiss of deathing the Cardinals, and the Seahawks just blew them out. I mean, yeah, but don't worry, Trevor.
Wow, I am so proud of you.
Don't worry, Trevor. I'm not going to kiss of death your Cardinals. I won't say what I was going to say.
So Trevor, I've got a question for you because I had to put my hand up. That's the only way you can ever get Ricky to stop talking. But my question for you, what is the team that scares you the most going down the stretch? The team that you look at and you go, I just don't want to play them. I don't have a good feeling about them. What's that team for you?
As in the tournament or in the regular season?
Regular season.
So like ACC.
ACC, yeah.
Probably Duke.
Duke's a weird team, though. It's like what
this year.
It's like what Duke are you going to see? The Duke that plays lights out, or the Duke that showed up against Utah?
They just can't seem to beat Duke very much.
Yeah,
like, and Virginia and North Carolina, they both split last year, and then Duke, they got swept. Probably the last 2 years, I think.
See, but the thing with Duke, and I mean, this is a little bit off the Louisville train, but I think it's going to be a relevant statement, is Duke in the ACC, I'm going to look very closely at them because I don't think Allen Grayson or Grayson Allen, whatever the kid's name is.
Grayson Allen.
He's not going to be Tyus Jones. He's not the Tyus Jones type player. The only reason he's the starter is because he had a hell of a championship game he had one game, one-hit wonder. That's what I think.
I wouldn't say that. Grayson Allen's been pretty decent.
But he's not going to be that Tyus Jones level when the chips are on the table and the going gets tough.
Can I tell you what, though, Ricky? I don't think you have anyone right now at the Tyus Jones level. You want to know why Duke is ranked 14, not 1. That's why.
Yeah, not 1 at all. Where you have Kansas and Oklahoma 1-2. Those could be the team. I mean, I'm going to throw that out. Last question for you, Trevor, a kind of fun one. You're in the tournament. Let's say you're a 4 seed. Who would you got to pick one of them. As of right now, who would you rather meet in the tournament? Oklahoma or Kansas? Number 1 in the nation, number 2 in the nation. I know they go at each other tonight as we are recording this podcast, but they look like the strong house, like strong players this year. If you're a Louisville team, who are you just saying, you know what, I want to take them on in the tournament and beat them? Because that would be a great story.
Well, I'm kind of tempted to say Kansas because of the correlation between the Michigan State game scores with Louisville and Kansas. But, because I think we could hang with them with that. But Oklahoma, I'd have to say, because with Louisville's defense, you don't often see them shutting down stars by points, but every now and then they can, and if they can get on Buddy Hield, Oklahoma doesn't have another, second-tier player, really.
No, they don't.
They're really solid all around on their starting 5, but they don't have, it's not a Golden State Warriors where if Curry's getting shut down, Klay Thompson or Draymond Green can take over right away.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing you mentioned, Buddy, you want to know what's the best thing I like about him? He's a senior.
What?
That's what I like about him. He's a senior, and he stayed in school. None of this one and done with Buddy.
Stay in school, kids. That's what Ricky's telling you.
I hate the one and done rule. I really do, but that's a topic for another time. I want to, unless, Brandon, you have anything you want to bring up to Trevor.
I'm good. Trevor, thanks so much for coming on, my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, anytime. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I just got one more thing to say.
Go ahead. The floor is yours, Trevor.
Yeah. Skull Vikings.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So that's going to do it for our call-in. Trevor, thank you for calling in, and maybe we'll have you on in the future again, because it's always a blast when we get to talk to Trevor Kinney.
And thanks, Trevor, best of luck to the Seahawks, my man.
Yeah.